If you'd like online business explained to you in a way that you can actually understand, go to latenightim.com/explain. It's completely free, and I made it just for you. Now, how about an episode? Episode 232.
Late Night Internet Marketing.
This week on the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast, we talk about the risk of building your internet business on other people's platforms. We talk about a specific event that's happened recently and what you need to learn from it. All this and more on the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast.
The Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast.
You've been working for somebody else, but you want a business to run yourself. You want to know how to start and where to begin. Can you get out your comfort zone, my friend? Yes, you can do it right when it's late at night. At the end of the day, your dreams burning inside. So keep it up and you will find that you're building your business one night at a time.
And now, broadcasting late at night from a little studio in the big state of Texas, your host, Mark Mason.
Hey, how is everyone doing? I am your host, Mark Mason, coming to you from the little studio in Dallas, Texas. I have Gizmo, the cockatiel, with me in studio today. He's doing great and eating some spinach, which is one of his favorite treat. He's on his perch. He's checking us out, and he's so glad that you are listening to the podcast, and so am I, because we've got something important to talk about today. It's been crazy busy around the little studio as high school baseball season cranks up. I've been attending practices and watching the team. I've got a freshman in high school baseball. This is my first experience as a parent with the high school athletics scene, and it's quite a ride. We go to a high school with a really large enrollment, almost 6,000 kids in this high school. It's actually the largest high school in the state of Texas. So making the baseball team is really competitive, even at the freshman level. And we've been enjoying that ride very much. We've got our first game this week. It's a scrimmage, our first official spring baseball game. So we're super excited. And I'm a total dorked out dad with all the sweatshirt gear and hats and cameras going at the game and the whole thing you can imagine. So I'm super fired up. That's not what we need to talk about today. What we need to talk about today is a post that I ran across in Facebook. Now, we've talked many times about the dangers of building your business on what I usually describe as rented land. And we talk about why you want to have your own website, your own .com, because if you're building your business on YouTube or on Facebook, you're at risk of other companies, namely Mark Zuckerberg or someone from Google, deciding that your business is inappropriate or they don't like you anymore, or maybe you did something that they didn't like, and them shutting you down. So a typical example that we see all the time are, say, a local business who's driving traffic from Facebook, and then for whatever reason, their Facebook profile changes in a way, is shadow banned or deranked in a way that they can no longer reach their customers. And in that particular case, that's a really tough case, because with a tool like Facebook, you don't have an email list. You don't know who those people are. You don't have any way to really contact them directly. In the case of tools like Facebook and YouTube, you're relying on the algorithm of those platforms to decide who sees your message. And so if the algorithm changes or you somehow get in trouble, you're toast. And so that's why we always talk about building a list and having your own email list that actually belongs to you. But on Facebook, I heard about a problem that I haven't really heard about before very often. Occasionally, we've heard stories where people who are using MailChimp for affiliate marketing had their accounts banned or shut down because MailChimp really doesn't like affiliate marketers. And in fact, if you look in their terms of service, at least this used to be the case, they specifically say they don't want you doing a lot of affiliate marketing. And the reason that MailChimp is doing that is because they're running a free platform. And if a lot of kind of marginally acceptable emails get sent out offering, all kinds of different crazy affiliate products, get rich quick schemes, adult health, all this kind of stuff, that can damage their email deliverability. So MailChimp is trying to protect their business. And so we have heard stories over the years of people doing legitimate email marketing, getting caught up in that and having their MailChimp accounts banned. And that's why I never recommend MailChimp for affiliate marketers, just for that simple reason. Well, a Facebook person that I am familiar with on Facebook named Allison Melody posted that she got censored by, as she puts it, her own damn business software. Now, what happened in her particular case is that she's using one of these all-in-one customer relationship management software suites called Kartra. Kartra is a course platform and an email platform and a landing page platform and a blog platform all in one. And in fact, it was started by world famous marketer Mike Filsaime. And since that was started years ago, Mike has left Kartra due to creative differences between Mike and the management at Kartra. And now he's created his own program called Groove, which is actually a platform that I've recommended to you guys many times. You can learn about it at latenightim.com/Groove. And it just so happens that Groove in the month of February is ending their lifetime offer that they have where you can pay once and use the platform for life. So if you're interested in that, now would be the time to go do that. But Allison's not using Groove. She's using Kartra. And the interesting thing is, at least right now, Groove is owned by a marketer who builds marketing tools for marketer. I don't know who owns Kartra right now, but they did something that was very difficult for Allison to stomach. What they did was they identified her content that she mails to her clients, that she has for her membership sites, sales funnels, online courses, etc., as unacceptable, and they shut her down. This is her story that she's got out there on Facebook. And what's interesting is that her content is about the healing power of food. And what she says is that food is basically a medicine. It's something that if you pay attention to, you can use for the purpose of healing. Her brand is Food Heals, and her content is about vitamins and vegetables, essentially. And the claims that she makes are that, in general, if you pay attention to what you eat and eat the right things, you can become healthier. And I'm sure, I'm not an expert on her content, you can heal all kinds of things that are bothering you. I think this is a widely held belief by a lot of nutritionists in the world that if you eat the right things, your general health can improve. We know from the recent scientific findings that there are all kinds of crazy food allergies that people have. And when they stop eating the foods that are causing inflammation and all these things, that they get healthier. And I think that's a pretty mainstream idea. I don't know the details of Allison's claims, but I know that Kartra came to her and said, we're disabling your Kartra mail. You can no longer use Kartra for mail, which is, of course, the heart of the program, or heart of Kartra. All of her landing pages and everything are integrated to that, and they shut her down. And they told her that the reason that they were doing that was because they needed to protect the integrity of the Kartra system, to protect their email deliverability, and they were not able to allow her to mail unsubstantiated medical claims with regard to the things that she was selling online. Now, that's a sort of a sticky place to begin with, because she's not really making FDA type claims. And, there's this big thing between pharmaceuticals and what is claimed there and the kinds of claims that you see around vitamins. All these vitamin claims are allowed by the government. I mean, just go to your grocery store. You see all of these vitamin claims because that's generally unregulated by the FDA. So I don't know exactly what Kartra is talking about and why they identified this as prohibitive content, but they did, and they prohibited it. And as far as I know, she's completely shut down. And what Kartra said was that, basically they had great concern and that she had violated their acceptable use policy. And all of these acceptable use policies on all of these platforms, they have these clauses that basically amount to the idea that you can be shut down for any reason. So what does this mean? What does it mean that you should do here? I think the first thing it means is you should understand the terms of service of every platform that you're using, whether it's Kartra or it's Kajabi or it's Groove, etc. You really need to understand the terms of service of that platform. That's the very first thing. I think the second thing is that you should always operate under the assumption that the thing that you are doing could be shut down, whether you're using a hosting platform or you're using a all-in-one tool like Kartra. You should operate under the assumption, maybe you're using ConvertKit or Aweber, that someone could call you up one day and just shut you down. I'll tell you a story that just happened to me the other day. So I have lots of different internet businesses that I operate and mess around with, for lack of a better term. Some of them are profitable and part of my mainstream business, like the stuff that's related to late night internet marketing. Some of them are things that I test and try and talk about on the podcast, like drop shipping. Well, another thing that I've been testing and trying recently has been direct email affiliate marketing, something that I used to work with years and years and years ago, more than a decade ago. The idea is that you buy some sort of advertising. A lot of times it's Google search ads or something equivalent to that. You send search ad traffic directly to a landing page, and you send that landing page traffic after you capture the email directly to a CPA offer. So CPA is cost per action or cost per acquisition, or people say it stands for different things. But basically, it's someone who will pay you per lead every time you send someone to their landing page and they leave their email address, or they leave their name and email address, or they leave their name, email address, and zip code. Sometimes they need to leave a credit card number. It depends on the offer. But basically, you can make $1 or $2 per lead, or sometimes more, sometimes less, sending leads to a landing page and having them opt in or not. You get paid every time someone does. So I was setting up this business with a very well-known and very well-liked CPA firm. And I was testing out one of their offers. And at the same time, I saw another offer that I thought would be a good fit for my blog. So I put a display ad on one of the blogs that I own. And for whatever reason, some suspicious click traffic came in for this blog, and this company just banned my account without any question, appeal, nothing. I mean, I did absolutely nothing suspicious at all. I didn't email bogus traffic. I didn't send bogus clicks. I just put a display ad on a blog that I've owned for years. And for whatever reason, traffic that came from my blog triggered one of their automated algorithms, and they banned my account and then refused to talk to me about it. They refused to have an intelligent conversation or give me a second chance or understand my point of view. They have a policy, which I totally respect, that if you do this, the result is this, and there's no exceptions. And so that happened to me just recently, as I think 9 months ago that this happened. So if you operate under the assumption that whatever platforms that you are using, this could happen to you, my best advice for you is to not only make sure that you understand the policies of the company that you're working with or companies that you're working with, but also understand what you would do in the event that something dramatic happened. So in this case, in the case that we're talking about with Allison, obviously what she's going to do immediately is take her email list and move that list to another email service provider. Now, maybe Kartra shut down her whole account. It sounds to me like what she posted, they only shut down her email account. But if they shut down your email account, one thing that you can always do is take that email list and move it to another provider like ConvertKit or Groove or someone who's a little bit more friendly to your kind of marketing. Now, in order to do that, you need to have the email lists. And I could imagine a case where if your account was locked and you weren't able to log in at all, you might not be able to download. For that type of case, I definitely recommend for things like your sales copy, your landing pages, your email lists, and other types of items like that, I definitely recommend that you have some strategy for periodically capturing that information and putting it someplace safe, like on your backed up hard drive in your home or your office, right? I mean, you don't want to get yourself in a situation where you've got an email list of tens of thousands of people and your email service provider locks your account and refuses to release those email addresses. That certainly could happen. I could totally imagine. Now, I don't know if that happened in Allison's case, but that'd be the first thing that I would be worried about, is whether or not I had my own copy of my email database so that I could just move to another provider. So if you don't take any other thing from this podcast, the two things that I want you to take are that you need to actually read and understand the terms of service for the platforms that you're using, particularly the ones that are business critical. The second thing I want you to take away is that you need to have a backup and, a recovery plan. In corporate, we would call this a business continuity plan for cases where your service is interrupted. And there are other reasons that your service could be interrupted. It doesn't just have to be a difference of opinion about what acceptable content is. They could have some catastrophic electronic event at Kartra, or they could decide to go out of business. The CEO of Kartra could embezzle funds, and that could cause the FBI to come in and shut down the platform. I mean, all kinds of amazingly crazy things could happen in the case of business software. Now, none of that happened in this case. Kartra, no one at Kartra is embezzling any money that we know of, but they certainly are aggressively protecting their platform in a way that adversely impact Allison. And I think that's a cautionary tale that you should understand and make sure that you have some kind of reasonable plan. What would you do if this happened to you tomorrow? And are you prepared? Those are the questions that you need to ask. Now, it's interesting when you look in the comments of these, there's a long discussion on Facebook, and you can see that people are upset. A lot of them are leaving Kartra over this, kind of like artists are leaving Spotify. People are going to start boycotting Kartra because of the way they're treating Allison. And I don't really know Kartra's side of the story. Allison's story seems pretty straightforward. And it does seem to me personally that she's been treated very unfairly. But, you know, Kartra's business, it's their business to run. It's their customers to lose. What's interesting is there's a lot of discussion around freedom of speech. And I think this is a commonly misunderstood thing that just, if you think that freedom of speech is going to protect you in a business context, I'd like to offer you a different point of view. And that is that Kartra is running a business. And aside from things that are fraudulent or otherwise violate some kind of federal law, they're able to run their business however they want to do that. And if they want to essentially discriminate against people who say things that they don't agree with or somehow put their platform at risk, they're able to do that. Now, of course, if they're discriminating against a protected class, like they're discriminating against women or they're discriminating against people of color, that's a different kind of problem. Obviously, they cannot do that. There are federal laws around that will help protect those groups. But they can discriminate against marketers who say things that they don't agree with or put their platform at risk. Marketers, as much as they should be, are not a federally protected class. There is no freedom of speech inside of business. There's no freedom of action. You either comply with a company's terms of service or you don't. And if you don't, in their judgment, you're no longer welcome on the platform. And Kartra is free to run their business like that. And in a free market like this, they also are free to suffer the consequences and benefits of those decisions. The benefit is, at least from Kartra's point of view, their email deliverability is better protected when they have more mainstream safe emails coming off their platform. That's their point of view. The other end of that stick is that people like Allison are out there telling the story about how they feel they were mistreated, and that is going to have a measurable impact. Again, I haven't reviewed this case in detail, and I don't know exactly what emails that Allison sent. I am not on Allison's email list, but it seems to me that this is a pretty aggressive position for Kartra to take. And I certainly would have pause before ever using Kartra for anything that was even remotely controversial. To me, this puts them in the same class as MailChimp. Kartra now will forever be on my list of platforms that I'll warn people about because of Allison's story. But this kind of problem is not limited to Kartra, and any platform, including your podcast hosting platform, could choose to kick you off and be completely within their rights. They have no responsibility to be fair, except for the free market responsibility that they have to their shareholders, that if the word gets out that they're not fair, then they'll have trouble retaining clients, and that'll cause a problem.
Now it's your turn. What action are you going to take to build your business?
One night at a time.
So a couple of actions for you. I want you to just sit down and on a piece of paper, write down the tools that you're using that are critical to your business, your email service provider, where you're hosting your landing pages, where you host your blog, where you host your podcast, stuff like that. Write those down. Maybe there's 4 or 5 or 6 critical platforms that your business really depends on. And then for each platform, I want you to go read the terms of service, but I want you to read it from the perspective of the platform owner. You've got a multi-million-dollar, multi-hundred-million-dollar business, maybe in some cases, and you need to make sure that you protect that business for your shareholders, for your ownership, and think about your content from that perspective. Have you got any risk there? And make a note of things that you're doing that might be a little bit risky. It's okay to take some business risk. You just need to make sure that you inventory that risk. And then I want you to do whatever you can do to back up your information. So if someone takes your platform away from you, you can quickly get back up and running on another platform that may be more friendly to your particular business strategy. I hope this is helpful to you. I hope it doesn't worry you as much as it gives you something actionable that you can go do so that you don't find yourself in the same situation as Allison.
You can do it right when it's late at night.
You've been listening to the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast.
Be sure to visit LNIMpodcast.com today to leave feedback for Mark. Download special bonus content, access the show notes, and more. See you there.
Until then, go and make some great progress on your internet business, one night at a time.
Building your business one night at a time.
I'll never forget the first time that this happened to me when I was a new marketer. This would have been back, I have to go back and check some old blog posts, but maybe in 2008, 2009. And I was running Google ads and I was trying to make internet marketing work, and Google just banned my account one day. I mean, I was starting to get a little traction, driving ads to an offer, making a little money with affiliate marketing. And just one day I got this email from Google and it said, your account is banned for life. And they wouldn't tell me why. And one of the reasons that they don't want to tell you why is because that gives people the information they need to fool their detection systems. A lot of times, if they tell you what they detect that causes a ban, a lot of times that will result in people sharing that information, and evildoers will use that information to circumvent whatever the detection is. And so they're very vague. Google still to this day will ban you for no apparent reason. It's well known. It's happened to many people that I know. And so that account was banned for life. Now I've subsequently got many other Google accounts, so it wasn't that big a deal in the long run, now looking back on it. But to me at the time, it was devastating. I was like, oh my God, how can this be the case? What am I going to do? And, you just have all these emotional feelings. I really feel for Allison because this just really sucks. And it just instantly, not only does it instantly cut off her ability to generate revenue because she can't email her list, but it creates an enormous amount of work because sure, she can upload her email to a new email service provider like ConvertKit or Aweber, or, pick one. So Allison's going to have to go through onboarding with a new email service provider. That can be a pain. She'll have to recondition her list and get back to the deliverability that she had before in some cases. And I think, that's a pain, but the bigger pain is she's going to have to go through every automation that she had set up inside of Kartra, every connection that she had to her courses and her landing pages. And I'm sure that now she's upset enough that she feels like she wants to leave Kartra, which is certainly what I would do. Just she's going to have to move all those landing pages, move those courses. It's just a huge amount of work and effort. And I feel for her because I know that's a very difficult proposition. It sucks. On the other hand, it's amazing what you can do with these platforms. And I certainly don't recommend that you don't use those platforms. You just need to manage the risk.
Late night internet marketing.
Hey, it's Mark again. I wanted to tell you one more time about this absolutely free resource that I have for helping people who are trying to get the big picture for internet marketing, actually get started and understand what all their choices are. If that's not you, there's no more content. You can skip to the end. But if you're someone who came to this podcast because you're searching for how to get started online and you just can't cut through all the noise, I get it. That was me in 2007 when I was trying to get started. There were so many people throwing offers at me that I really couldn't even understand what all the different business models were. I couldn't understand how money moved around on the internet. And I couldn't really get a grip on what direction I wanted to go in so I could figure out how to move forward. I've created a free video resource for you just for that purpose at latenightim.com/explain. In several short videos, I just explained to you what internet marketing is all about and what online business is all about and the different options that you have for starting an online business. There's nothing to buy there. You just sign up for access and you get the videos just like that. So if that's interesting to you, or if you know someone who's in a same situation, send them that link, latenightim.com/explain. And let me know what you think. I'd love to hear what people are thinking that are in the exact same position that I was in more than a decade ago in 2007. In some ways, it seems like yesterday. And in some ways, it seems like an entire lifetime ago. Again, that's latenightim.com/explain.
Late night internet marketing.